Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Bible in 1 year with the preacher's husband. And today, we are talking about Genesis chapters 41 and 42. And now, where we left off yesterday, basically, the cupbearer had left Joseph and just forgotten about him. So the cupbearer got out. Joseph interpreted these dreams, and everything came to fruition. Well, the Pharaoh had a dream, and he calls all of his wisest people together. And basically what happens is none of the people from Pharaoh's group, none of the wise men could interpret the dream. Even the one that was known for interpreting dreams couldn't interpret the dream. And that's when the cupbearer was like, oh yeah, ding, ding, ding. Remember that guy the time you put me in jail? Remember that guy that was in jail with me, Joseph? Guess what happened? I told him my dream, and it came true. And not only that, the baker told him his dream, and he interpreted it for him, and it came true too. So he must be the guy that can do it. So Pharaoh calls Joseph in and tells Joseph his dream. And there were actually two dreams. The first dream, he dreams there were 7 cows, and they were fat and healthy. But then there were 7 skinny, sickly-looking cows that came up and just ate them, devoured them. And when they got done eating them, they looked like they hadn't eaten anything. And then he woke up, and he was kind of like, that was weird. So he goes back to sleep. And then when he wakes up, he says, I think I'm going to go to sleep. I think I gotta go back to sleep. Surely that was just a crazy dream. So he has this another dream where there were 7 heads of grain, and these heads of grain were super healthy. But then these other 7 heads of grain were kind of near it, and they devoured the good heads of grain. So Pharaoh asks Joseph, "What do you think this means?" And Joseph said, "Oh, this is easy. The 7 healthy cows, or the 7 healthy heads of grain, represent 7 years of healthiness and prosperity and good growth and lots of food and abundance, essentially. And the 7 sickly heads of grain and the sickly heads of cattle, they represent 7 years of famine that follow." And basically what that means is that's God preparing you. God is telling you, look, you're fixing to have 7 years of abundance. You need to save up because there's going to be 7 years of famine afterwards, and you need to be prepared for it. So Pharaoh's like, wow, that's amazing. So how do we go about doing this? Who in Pharaoh's kingdom could be smart enough and wise enough to direct all of Pharaoh's people and get all of this taken care of to where they can store all this grain? And all the wise men and all the people that were there, they all basically pointed at Joseph and said, this guy he interpreted the dream. He's obviously smart enough to do this too. So Pharaoh puts Joseph in charge of all of Egypt. Everything, all the towns, all the cities. And his job was to collect food, collect grain, store it. Anything that could be stored for years, he would store it. And store 1/5 of everything that was produced for the next 7 years, to be able to have enough food to feed people for the following 7 years. So he does it. Now, this is a picture of where they would store the grain. These are big, huge holes that are basically cut out in the ground, and they're sealed up, and they would have had a roof on them of sorts, and they would have had they would have steps. You don't see the steps from here, but the steps are kind of closest to us. There's a stairwell going down into it, so they could go down, scoop up some grain, and carry it out. So this was basically what the Egyptian storehouses looked like. When you say the word Joseph's storehouse, this is what we would be looking at. Joseph's storehouse, right there. And guess what? The 7 years of famine hit, and guess who shows up? Yep. None other than Joseph's brothers, looking for food because they were starving too. So they get there, they get ready ready to ask for some food, and Joseph looks at him and he recognizes them right away. He knows exactly who they are, and he's like, "You guys are spies. You're coming from another land, and you're spying on us to find our weakness." They're like, "No, we're just Canaanites. We're coming to get some food, and we're all from the same father, and we have one brother, and he is with our father, our youngest brother, and we're just here to get some food for our family because we're starving." Like, "No, you're spies. You're here to see what our weaknesses are, and you're here to spy on us." They're like, no, we promise we're not. So Joseph has them thrown in jail, essentially. And he throws them in jail for 3 days, and he thinks about it. He goes, all right, now these are my brothers. What in the world am I going to do to them? I could be mean. I could pay them back for this. I could do anything I want to because I'm the boss. I run this whole show. I could do anything I want to them. I could have them executed if I want. But does he do that? No. 3 days later, he turns them loose and says, "Here, take this grain that you paid for. You paid for it with silver, and head on back, feed your family. But I'm going to keep one of you here. What I want you to do is take all this grain home, feed your family, and bring back your youngest brother to me." And they say, "Okay, we'll do it." So they take that grain. When they get there and they open the bags of grain, Joseph had snuck the silver into the bags of grain. So not only did they get the bags of grain, but they had their silver that they would have paid for it with too. So they got it all for free, essentially. And they go home. And they tell their dad everything that happens. And basically, Daddy said, "Ain't no way I'm sending my youngest son out there. You know, Joseph's dead, and my youngest son, Benji, he's the only one that's the heir to all of this. And no, I'm not going to risk getting him killed in crazy Egypt. No, not going to happen." So that's where we left off. So tomorrow, we're going to read through Genesis 43, 44, and 45. And here's the thing. Read these stories for yourself. Don't just rely on my summary for it, because my summary is just that. It's a summary. It's short. It's not the full story, the whole story, the rest of the story. All right? Read these for yourself. And if I've missed something or there's something that stuck out to you that I didn't talk about, pop it down there in the comments and let's talk about it. And maybe I'll learn something from you as well. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and click the little jingle bell to get notified the next time I upload a video. And I will see you tomorrow for another episode of the Bible in 1 year with the Preacher's Husband. See ya.